This touring Irish rugby team are doing ever better. They lost the first test against the All Blacks. They lost their first match against the Maori All Blacks, lost the first test against the All Blacks, won the second test against the All Blacks, have now won the second game against the Maori All Blacks. And there's a game in Wellington on Saturday night, which I'm now saying I favour the Irish to win. Well, while New Zealanders, of course, we beat our breasts and we get all upset about stuff like this, don't we? Because it's rugby and it's our religion and we've been so good for so long. I wonder how the Irish are feeling about all this and do they really care? Well, to find out, we are joined now by Irish journalist Oliver Lee. Oliver, nice to talk to you. How are you?
Good morning, Sean. Good morning to all your listeners.
Now, Oliver, I just want to clarify. You're an Irish journalist in New Zealand, not an Irish journalist visiting New Zealand.
No. I've been here only 33 years, Sean.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I thought. I wanted to clarify. So you've got quite a good perspective. Have you been to any of the games? Have you been following them round? And do you know
I've only gone to every game since I came here in 1989, Sean. So 33 years. So the voice is not great after watching Ireland beat the All Blacks last weekend in Dunedin. I was down there 30 years ago with my great friend Brian Gaynor, I'm sure you interviewed, from Limerick, and we lost 24-21, and we had a couple of other games that could have gone either way down through the years. Of course, 10 years ago, we probably should have won in Christchurch. Nigel Owen, gave a penalty to the All Blacks on the 22. We do remember these things, Sean, and the All Blacks went down the field and Dan Carter kicked a drop goal, and then the Irish boys thought that was nearly as good as a win, and they went off to Queenstown to party for a week, and Hamilton was 60-0. But I don't think that's going to happen this Saturday, Sean. Yes, I've gone to the first game against the Maori All Blacks, the Eden Park test, and last weekend. And Irish rugby now is a totally different organisation to us 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah. When
they used to tour, they'd play well for 50 minutes.
Will this tour be making big news back home?
Well, probably not so much in Limerick and Kilkenny and Galway and Kerry, because them four counties will be competing in the All-Ireland hurling final and football final in 2 weeks' time. And Gaelic games are still the number one sport in Ireland. But within the rugby community, there's certainly be a lot of interest. The other issue is in Ireland as well, all the games now are on pay-per-view and Sky TV. So, as is the case with many people in New Zealand, a lot of people don't have the paid TV subscription. So when it went off free to air, many people didn't follow it. But certainly amongst the Dublin, Munster, we'll say communities that follow rugby, and Ulster and Connacht, there'll be good interest in it. And I've been getting lots of messages from Ireland over the last week, wondering, what was it like in Dunedin? And the great thing about being in Dunedin last week, Sean, was having the covered stadium, because Friday and Saturday weren't the nicest of days before the game.
Yeah, who knows what it's going to be like Saturday night. I take it you're coming to Wellington Saturday night?
Well, hopefully, yeah. 10 of the people that were in my group last week have all got COVID, so I'm on my knees here praying that I don't get it today. But no, I'm planning to be down there with all my family, and we'll all be decked out in green. And I've met some of the officials and players over the last 2 weeks, and they're looking forward to it. They've created history. I think all the pressure is definitely on the All Blacks. I heard you before 8 o'clock there, you're putting money on Ireland to win. I think that it's going to be a really tough game. I think the All Blacks will come back out firing. I met a number of ex-All Blacks at the airport in Dunedin on Saturday or Sunday morning, and they squarely laid the blame at the foot of the players rather than the coach, the coaching team. So I think the All Blacks will respond, and we know after they were beaten in Chicago, Ireland had their first victory there, 2016. 2 weeks later, they came to Dublin, and they were firing on all cylinders. So I think it will be an outstanding game. Ireland haven't got the depth, front row, second row, and if anything happened, Johnny Sexton, we just don't have the depth. But they now.
I don't know. Our forward pack looked pretty pretty average the other weekend, and a backline can't look good behind a bad forward pack. I thought you outplayed us pretty comprehensively.
Oh no, what I'm saying we have, but I'm saying if our backup, if anything happens, Tag Furlong or Ryan, or Sexton, our depth. Although looking at the game last night, there's certainly a number of good young players coming through from Ireland, but whether the coach would put them on the bench and spring them on, I doubt it. They will, they have that belief, and yes, I've been to pretty much some games in 2008 in Wellington. It was a terrible evening. Southerly came through, and I think Brian O'Driscoll nearly got hypothermia, had been interviewed afterwards. So let's hope that you turn on a good weekend down there of weather, Sean. And it's great to see so many. On Saturday night, I was basically nearly ran over so many times with delighted All Black fans, so happy to see Ireland. They were happy to see Ireland win. I think it'd be a bit different, the All Blacks losing to Australia, England.
Oh no, we'll be magnanimous in defeat as we, as we drag our sorry bums back to the pub and mutter about the referee. One does get the feeling, though, Oliver, that, and certainly in my lifetime, the invincible aura of the All Blacks is no more, and teams like Ireland that might have had a psychological disadvantage deep down in their, inside their heads, that's kind of gone, hasn't it?
It has, and I said the other day to somebody, and I want to, where praise is due, the influence of both New Zealand coaches and players in Ireland over the last 15, 20 years has made a big difference. And I know there's a number of players on the team that have qualified through residency and through a relative in Ireland. But the Joe Schmitz, John Plumptre spent some time in Ireland as well, coaching, as well as some other second-tier New Zealand coaches, and they brought that kind of New Zealand winning way and to the Irish rugby, and that was something that Ireland was missing. Even my own county, our province, Connacht, we were pretty much, they basically, of the four provinces, they tried to get rid of Connacht 15 years ago. They were an embarrassment, but they invested into Connacht, and former Auckland coach Pat Lamb went there and they won the second tier competition a few years ago, and now they're matching it. They haven't won any more silverware since, but certainly you're right, the All Blacks were invincible. Nobody, Irish people, Irish teams, they just thought they could never beat them, but that all changed in 2016 with that great win in Chicago. But since then they've had 3 wins in Dublin. The last time before this particular tour, I travelled to the World Cup thinking that Ireland might have a chance against the All Blacks, but that game was over in 10 minutes. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen this weekend, but I think that the All Blacks will come out firing on all cylinders on Saturday night, and with the crowd behind them, it should be a great occasion. But I still believe that if Ireland play as well as they did last week, they will be.
They'll beat us. They'll beat us.
To go.
Hey, Oliver, what has it been like for the followers of this Irish team? I know a smaller contingent than normal because of the times we live in. Have they been having a good time in New Zealand?
Oh, they have.
On tour?
I've met it, but there's about 300 people that have come down from Ireland, but there's quite a few more Irish people have come over, expats that are living in Australia, and there's a good expat community living here in New Zealand. But I always try to convince people to come down to New Zealand, but sadly any time over the years they've watched games, the weather was like it was at the start of the game last night, and they kind of think, God, do we want to pay all that money to come down to watch rugby in cold and wet weather? But the people that are on this tour, I was talking to one of the tour operators, the big issue was getting space because of the shortage of flights, etc. But they seem to be having a great time. A lot of them have travelled around the country in between the test matches, and but sadly quite a few of them too have got COVID, so there was quite a few spare tickets from Irish groups in Dunedin last weekend, and who knows what will happen this weekend. But no, it's a great relationship between our two countries. I came here for a week to watch a rugby game in 1989 at Eden Park, to say I've been there and done that, and 33 years later I'm still here. But
what was her
I'll
name?
always support the All Blacks.
What was her name, Oliver?
The All Blacks. Pardon?
What was her name?
What? Oh, yeah, well, she was from Hawke's Bay. I didn't meet her for a few years afterwards. I married a girl, Terry, Terry Williamson, and we've got 3 children, Sinead, Patrick and Fergus. Patrick's down your neck of the woods, and but they'll all be decked out in their Irish greenery this weekend, and we're all Black supporters against any, but when it comes to Ireland, and with a name like Sean Plunket, Sean, you've got to have connections.
Well, my first name's Oliver.
Yeah.
I'm Oliver Sean Plunket, yeah.
Oliver Sean Plunket. Well, there you go. And we had I was called after Blessed Oliver Plunket.
So was I.
Who's now Saint Oliver Plunket. So we had rebels Joseph Mary Plunket, and we had Blessed Oliver Plunket. So you can probably get an honorary Irish passport.
Well, believe it or not, Oliver, we trace ourselves back to a branch of his family.
Very good. Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. Yes.
So we'll have to have a Guinness. Oliver, we may well see you Friday, Saturday in Wellington. Thank you for your overview from an Irish perspective of what I'm sure will be a great night on Saturday. I thank you for your time and go well. That is Oliver Lee, Irish journalist living in New Zealand. And I think it is going to be a great weekend.